Welcome back. If you started this year imagining things might be a little cruisier than the last, you probably felt some whiplash as things unfolded. The world was relatively united on things like ending the pandemic, even to some extent tackling climate change, but still at conflict with itself on numerous fronts. It was difficult to get perspective on some of this at times, unless you took a few steps back, and a few more, and a few more still. The turn of the new year was marked by unprecedented violence in the seat of American power. On January 6, Donald Trump's supporters stormed the US Capitol in a bid to stop the certification of Joe Biden's election win. Fueled by lies about voter fraud, egged on by Trump and other Republican officials, the mob attacked the houses of Congress. USA! 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 5 people died in the chaos, and more than 650 people would later be charged.
It was a dark day in the history.
The riot did not achieve its goal, and Joe Biden was inaugurated as the country's 46th president.
We've learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. And at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
While there was relief the system had not broken, many worried it had bent too far, laying the foundations for future insurrections.
People sweeping this away, saying nothing happened here, and the next time around you get the real thing where people actually do seize those major buildings. This was, in effect, a dress rehearsal.
That same month, the official worldwide COVID death toll surpassed 2 million. In February, another coup, this time in Myanmar. And with more immediate effect than America's, leader Aung San Suu Kyi forcibly removed from power as the country returned to military rule. Hundreds of thousands protested and thousands were jailed.
The Burmese military has proven themselves very capable of slaughtering its own people. The pretense of democratization is finished.
Over the border, a joint investigation by China and the World Health Organization into the origins of COVID poured water on the lab leak theory. It suggested bat transmission was far more likely, despite claims China had withheld important data.
More than a dozen countries, including the US, UK, Canada, Japan and Australia, issued a joint statement raising concerns about the credibility of the research and the independence of the findings.
In March, one of the world's busiest trade routes was blocked when the Ever Given container ship ran aground in the Suez Canal.
50 ships a day normally pass through the canal, carrying 12% of the world's trade, so the pressure is really on to get her refloated.
The blockage impacted international supply chains and was thought to have cost $400 million per hour. But as one of the few global events in 2021 that wasn't inherently tragic, it was a disaster many actually enjoyed.
Hey, mate! You can't park there!
In April, the Commonwealth mourned Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, dying at the age of 99, closing the chapter on an extraordinary 73-year marriage to Queen Elizabeth.
My dear Papa was a very special person who, above all else, would have been amazed by the reaction and the touching things that have been said about him.
The official worldwide COVID death toll surpassed 3 million. In May, tensions between Israel and the Palestinians boiled over. A series of escalations resulting in the worst violence the region has experienced since 2014.
I call on the international community, those who support human rights and children's rights and democracy, those who penalise anyone who harms a child, to look to our children here who are being bombed with strikes that drop entire floors onto people who we have to recover their body parts.
The world watched on in horror. The images and stories continued despite the razing of the offices housing Associated Press and Al Jazeera, that building among the 459 either destroyed or damaged by Israeli rocket fire.
We are from AP News Agency. We have a lot of equipment. All the equipment is there. Give me 15 minutes and I can bring it all out.
It's not a media tower and it's not a media center. It is a tower that was used by Hamas.
Human Rights Watch estimates 260 Palestinians were killed in the conflict, 66 of them children.
I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people, but I can't. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. I'm just 10.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was accused by protesters of encouraging the chaos to remain in power. The following month, Netanyahu, who'd been indicted on corruption charges, was removed from power after a cumulative 15 years at the helm.
We'll be back soon.
In July, the world watched as, wow, what the is that?
It looks like a giant
Dick,
Yeah.
take a look out of starboard.
It's the only way to build a road to space. And we need to build a road to space so that our children can build the future.
Space officially became the playground of rival billionaires, with Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk and Richard Branson shooting civilians into the void, rushing to commercialise the final frontier.
Everybody who has been to space, every astronaut, comes back and they say that it changed them somehow. I don't know how it's going to change me, but I know it's going to, and I'm excited to find out how.
Personally, I hope it changes him into a person who pays any taxes.
But beyond the rocket measuring contest, this was the year that saw Mars exploration truly take off, with the United Arab Emirates successfully orbiting the Red Planet, China landing its first rover on Utopia Planitia Basin, and NASA conducting the first ever off-world air flight.
I would say it's a success.
Back on Earth, the COVID death toll surpassed 4 million. In August, Afghanistan's government collapsed following the withdrawal of US and allied troops.
I'm now the 4th United States president to preside over American troop presence in Afghanistan. I will not pass this responsibility on to a 5th.
America's 20-year occupation of the country came to an end as the Taliban claimed Kabul, completing its swift repossession of the country it had once ruled.
I can't believe the world abandoned Afghanistan. Our friends are going to get killed. They're going to kill us. Our women are not going to have any more rights.
The UN estimates the number of Afghans displaced or in search of asylum exceeds 6 million. In October, there was promising news on a different virus, as the World Health Organization approved a groundbreaking malaria vaccine, the first of its kind, and one expected to save the lives of tens of thousands of children.
This vaccine is a gift to the world, but its value will be felt most in Africa.
November kicked off with the COP26 climate summit in Glasgow, as the world's leaders tried to reach an accord on emissions reductions.
We are, in fact, closer than we have ever been before to avoiding climate chaos.
The summit concluded with countries agreeing to a drastic reduction in emissions, a result seen as hopeful, but not enough to keep warming below the critical 1.5-degree line.
I apologise for the way this process has unfolded, but it's also vital that we protect this package.
In a year of ever-increasing hurricanes, cyclones, floods and wildfires, the urgent need for action has taken hold.
No more blah, blah, blah. Action now!
That month, as the Omicron variant was detected in southern Africa, the official worldwide COVID death toll surpassed 5 million. Then, as the year drew to a close, tensions with China grew. Australia joined the United States diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Winter Olympics. Joe Biden tried to stave off Russia's potential invasion of Ukraine, and the world collectively surpassed 8 billion administered COVID vaccine doses. 2021 ends with hope that the worst of the pandemic may soon be behind us, and that 2022 will bring a much-needed respite.
Woo! It's all a bit dystopian in that there's all sorts of like chaos and disease happening in different areas around the world, and at the same time, billionaires just like, oh, it's pretty cool to be in zero gravity.
Yeah. It's funny just sort of seeing it on a timeline like that. You're like, wow, a lot has happened and I am very tired.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Absolutely. And looking at things like the storming there for the Capitol being in January of this year, when it kind of feels like 10 years and 2 months ago at the same time, it's bizarre.
Yep.
Well, let's hope it all calms down after New Year's Eve.
Indeed.
Just like a punctuation mark.
I've got high hopes for 2022.